We have so much new makeup from Sephora, y'all. We've been doing a bunch of curriculum-based videos and catching up on this and that. We have not talked about new makeup in far too long. Today, I have the new Ciele bronzing drops. These are the Bronze and Protect SPF 50 Bronzing Concentrate. I'm going to swatch these against all of the Ciele bronzer sticks as well as the other bronzing drops in my collection so that y'all can see how they stack up. We're gonna be, hello? We're gonna be mixing that with the Ciele skin tint. It's not new, but I just wanna see how they work together. I'm going to diverge a little bit from my typical routine lately. I've not been putting concealer underneath my eyes, but I feel like for the sake of science, we need to see how the new Danessa Myricks concealer works underneath the eyes. I've loved it on the rest of my face, but I want to see how it works in the most sensitive area of my face. And then, this is not really a first impression, even though they are still in the boxes. I have lots of familiarity with these formulas, but these are new shades in the Makeup by Mario blushes, the kind of like skin enhancer formula blushes, as well as his Moisture Glow Plumping Lip Serum, and these are the Vivids. And I'm really excited about the Vivids because the blushes were not pigmented enough for my taste. I found them to be a little bit underwhelming, so I'm hoping that Papaya Pop and Pink Peony are going to blow my mind, and then Tangerine Glow. I think this is going to be quite a like skin heavy makeup look. I don't really have anything new for the eyes, so I think we're going to concentrate mostly on like those as our colors. I'm really psyched to see how it turns out. Let's go ahead and jump in. I don't know if y'all can tell, but my skin is thriving. And I have devices and things like that that I use, but I've been using them for a while. I feel like this acute change is because of two things. One, and I keep talking about it, but it's like, I used this years ago, but that was before I had perioral dermatitis. And perioral dermatitis, if anyone doesn't know, but if you know, you know, it is so hard to kick it. Like everything just seems to exacerbate it. All of your sunscreens, any actives, keeping your skin too wet, too dry, whatever, you know, everything pisses it off. This fixes it. This is the Ultra Repair Cream. I mean, it's like old as the hills from First Aid Beauty. And I was using the Prequel body lotion on it because my love, Shelby Wilson, told me to, and she was right. And I think that this might even have more colloidal oatmeal in it. So that is the key ingredient here that has kicked my perioral dermatitis. I just wanted to let y'all know because like, look at my skin. Look at my skin. I don't have anything on it right now. And it's clear. We don't have any dermatitis. I'm living. I'm so happy. And then also the acne is gone. And that is because spironolactone. Like, I'm not a doctor. You have to get spironolactone prescribed to you. I did it through one of like the online services or whatever. Game changer. My skin is so clear on my shoulders and my chest and my back too, because I'm on Wellbutrin. Wellbutrin really, like, for some people starts to make your sebum overactive. It's almost like when I was pregnant, it kind of like screws with my hormones a little bit. Spironolactone blocks testosterone to some extent, you know, so it kind of gives you a little bit more of, I guess, proportionally like the feminine hormones. Voila! It worked like a charm. It worked for my sister. She was who recommended it to me, and I cannot stop singing the praises of it because the Wellbutrin acne was insurmountable. And if you've ever taken Wellbutrin, again, I'm not a doctor, but it is a miracle drug. For people who struggle with like really bad depression, it is kind of like will to live in a pill. And so like you don't want to stop taking Wellbutrin once you've kind of gotten it into your system. And so I was like, all right, we just got to handle the acne, and spironolactone helped. So if you're wondering, kind of like following along on my personal journey, I feel like we're on the other side of it right now. And it's because of those two things. And I just wanted to let y'all know that. That is not a recommendation for getting any kind of medication prescribed to you. I just wanted to let you know that that's what's going on in my life. So I want to start with my sunscreens here. I have been using two sunscreens. I've been using the one SPF 50 Invisible Sunscreen Gel. This is not at Sephora, but it came out as the kind of like brand collab with the Ciele Bronze and Protect because Nikki DeRoast has always been a huge fan of Allies of Skin. Like, she has the most gorgeous skin you've ever seen. And she was probably the first person to turn me on to Allies of Skin. And so I used to buy their stuff, and now, thank God, I'm on their PR list. They're amazing for sending me things. I'm so grateful. And I also have a discount code with them. I will put it on the screen. I think it's probably like, you know, khaki 15, khaki reviews 15 or something like that. And I don't usually like one of these like silicone based chemical sunscreens, because that's what this is. It's very much like the Unseen sunscreen from Supergoop, but the Unseen sunscreen really bothers my skin and this does not. I've been wearing it for weeks and it hasn't bugged my skin. I think it's Charlotte Palomino who you'll watch put on a chemical sunscreen and then put on a mineral sunscreen on top, and that's what I've been doing lately. Again, I'm not a scientist. This just is sort of like how I've been functioning lately. And this is the Soleil Toujours Mineral Ally Daily Face Defense. It's an SPF 60 and you're going to pay about $1 for every one of those SPFs. It's very expensive, and I was influenced by my friend Natalie, who has very expensive taste, but she's usually right. That's the combo that I've been doing, but you can see it does leave kind of a blue cast, so not recommended for every skin tone. It just happens to work for me and all my paleness. So I've been really serious about my sun care recently. I love that Ciele also has sunscreen in like every step. That's so nice. Let's go ahead and swatch the new bronzing drops from Ciele against the other things in my collection that really compare to it. Let me help you navigate here. So these are the two shades in the new Ciele bronzing drops. This is 1 and 2. I'd say 1 is kind of a neutral to pink on the skin, and then 2 is kind of neutral to green. So this can pull a little bit yellowy orange on me, and I do find that 2 is a better match for me, but it's more of an undertone thing, I think, than like a depth thing. So these definitely don't go like, you know, super deep. I'd love you to sound off in the comments, especially my deep skinned people, and let me know like, what's your opinion on bronzing drops in general? I would love to know. So then we have the Makeup by Mario. These are the new ones that are very thin and like, you know, light coverage. They're the Bronze and Sculpt Shaping Serum or whatever. This is fair and this is light. And then this is Say, which is the sand shade. And it's very comparable, you can see, to this one, I feel like. It's, you know, a nice kind of neutral to pink. And then this is the Face Glaze Bronze Gel Cream from In Beauty Project. And this only comes in 1 shade, and you can see it is kind of that like green bronze, but it is so much less concentrated than this. And it's also shimmery. Now on this hand, these are the Ciele bronzer sticks that they put out, the like contour bronzer things, the sculpting sticks. Let's see, number 1 and number 1 really line up. And then from there, it's just about like, you know, undertone and depth. I don't feel like these are necessarily supposed to be products that like replace one another in your routine. It's like a yes and situation. But other than that, I mean, this is just a very different product in nature altogether. So let's go ahead and put it on my face. So I have the Ciele Tint and Protect SPF 50 Skin Tint, the tinted serum, and I have this in shade 2. They sent me 3 and it worked great, but 2 worked even better, and so I gave 3 to my friend Rebecca. Hey Rebecca. We're going to mix this. We don't need much. I'm gonna go with shade 2 today. I just like the color that it turns, but I'm telling y'all, like for a pale girl, like that much is what you need. It's really concentrated. I did really fall in love with the Ciele skin tint over the winter time because it's very hydrating, and it did kind of make my year-end best of the best lists and stuff, especially because I feel like it's one of the best performing SPF skin tints I've ever used with a mineral SPF in it. But I think that it's important to mention that my skin did get too dry for it at one point. It was kind of like, I don't know, I pushed it past the limit of, I feel like, what it's capable of doing late in winter. It still is not as hydrating as something, or even perfecting as something with higher coverage or more presence on the skin, because it's quite thin. So I would say that like when I finally got into my skin being the most desperate for moisture, it was the Danessa Myricks skin tint, or something from Chanel that's like super hydrating. And also, as soon as it came out, that Lisa Eldridge skin tint has been everything to me. Everything. Like, it wears 10 hours. I am shocked by it. Like, I will wear it thinking, oh, okay, you know, like it's a skin tint, whatever. And then literally 10 hours later, I'll be in a bathroom, you know, I've been like out having dinner with my friends, or like took a long drive. I took a drive to Philly and back, and I get back, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I've been wearing it for 12 hours, and I look at my skin, I'm like, what did I put on this morning? It looks amazing. freaking Lisa Eldridge. Stuff's incredible. I have no idea how she made a skin tint that high performing. It's so good. I don't really know if that was like a good demo. Let's do a little bit more to see how it builds and stuff, because this will build, but I wanna just like make sure that we keep the color really consistent, because I've gotten carried away with this really easily and ended up with like my face a completely different color than my body. So there we go. Okay, so like you can use it to enhance the bronze, like it almost, you know, functions as a bronzer when you mix like a higher proportion of it with your foundation. And I did just mainly want to test like whether it cooperated really beautifully with the Ciele skin tint, and the answer is yes, of course it does. So there's that. So pretty, and it's kind of in one step, you know. You get your bronzer, not that I'm not that I'm going to stop there in terms of bronzing, but you could if you so desired. So there's that. I think it's quite pretty. And I did a full get ready with me with a lot of these products already over on my Patreon. So if you ever want early access to that kind of thing, it's just a lot more chill. I was in natural light. It's a lot less edited, you know, I don't know. It's just a different vibe. So that is something else you could do. You could join for $1. All right, so this is the Danessa Myricks concealer. I have this in shade 2. That is the shade that matches me in her foundation as well. Like all of her foundation products in shade 2. And like I said, I've been loving this on my skin because I love a kind of matte concealer. This is called the Lift and Flex Concealer for Eyes and Face. But because I have not been in the habit of using concealer under my eyes, I have not tried this under my eyes yet. So let's do it today. All right, moment of truth here. Wow, that's freaking beautiful. Hope it doesn't crease, but like, my God, is that lightweight and smooth. I really trust her with complexion. I should say I really trust her with texture. I feel like Danessa really knows texture. She really understands how to manipulate light with the finish of a product. And I can always also trust her to have a really great complexion shade range. In the past, she's had some sort of questionable like bronzing shades, but when she started coming out with, well, I mean, honestly, even since the Vision Cover Cream, those have always just been really well-informed skin tones. Hello, deep set eyes. 4K. That looks really nice. I'm going to go in with the Ciele bronzer sticks. Again, I just kind of want to like stick to the plot, test this out, see how it works, especially because some of y'all might already have these in your collection. And so it's important to, you know, show how they all relate to each other. So I'm starting with 1. And the thing with these is, and good, I have the Ciele brush here. Yes, this is a great brush. The thing with these is that they're quite waxy and they take a little bit to get started. It's not a very like creamy, melty product. It's quite stiff. And like, that doesn't mean it's not pigmented. It's just like, you kind of have to get it started and get it like well dispersed on the brush before you put it on, because if you put it directly on the skin, don't do it. Just don't do it, at least in my experience. Like, it will move your makeup around too much. So I'm just getting it like really, really well dispersed on the brush there. And that's what we're gonna use. And they use this as a contour in their demos on like the Sephora website and stuff. And I disagree with that a little bit, but I also am going to do a video coming up soon. I think it's gonna be my next color theory video, is going to be on the difference between contour and bronzer. And as usual, we're going to talk about how nothing is really as it seems. Nothing has a super firm identity and you can kind of do whatever you want, but I'm going to give guidelines so that, again, you know what you're looking at when something's not working on you and you know how to fix it, kind of thing. So when I talk about something not being a contour or not being a bronzer kind of thing, I'm speaking in relative terms to my skin tone. I'm not talking about like in the wide world of sports. Tan! I have been really into just leaning into tan skin lately. I've been using like 25 bronzers on my face. That's an exaggeration, but I have been like skipping eyes altogether and just being like, bronzer? Have us more bronzer, you know? A little more bronzer. I actually was also influenced to buy a whole bunch of stuff from Hermes by my friend Natalie of My Skintress. She's, you know, also online and a really, you know, brilliant influencer, but she, you know, she fell in love with a bunch of Hermes stuff because of my Hermes video. And then she returned the favor by, you know, buying more stuff and then telling me I needed to buy it. And then I did, and she was right. So No one around here is saving money on makeup, okay? I'm grabbing just a little bit of my Film Star Bronze and Glow here. She's so well loved from Charlotte Tilbury. And just gonna sort of like finish that out. Something about contour is that, like, I don't know, I'm already getting into what I'm gonna talk about in the video, but like you can use it for so many other things than just how it's used in, you know, typical makeup routines and people's, you know, beauty videos, because once you learn how to manipulate light and shadow, you have a lot more freedom. We'll see, I'll show y'all. I feel like it's all about the why. All right, mainly I just don't love that like line that happens when I take a cream up to my hairline and then it won't go into my hairline because it's a cream. So it's like you have to kind of like finish the job with a powder. You like have to, like that. Okay, oh, I'm so excited. We're getting into the Makeup by Mario blushes here. So the history of these blushes for me is that, you know, we started out with this. This is my second one and I'm already panning it. This is the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. And then they came out with blushes. I honestly don't even think that I still have them. I think that I gave them away because they were just so unpigmented, and it's one of my kind of cardinal examples of when a bronzer doesn't translate in formula to a blush, you know, and vice versa sometimes. But I feel like he heard us. Wow! Like, that's appetizing, you know? Like, it's just really, really lovely. So I am, oh my God, hoping that these are super satisfying in relation to those old ones, you know? I want to be able to use them. I love this formula, you know? So, it is a gel formula. You know, it's the same formula as the bronzer. God, that's pretty. Oh my God, I'm so freaking excited. If this looks like crap on me, I'm gonna be so pissed. Okay, so I can already see what's happening here, and that is, I see what's happening here. You're face to face with greatness and it's strange. You don't even know how you feel. It's adorable. I've had coffee and nothing else. This is an excellent example of my video that I did on kind of like hollow color. The thumbnail is like rich versus hollow, because when you're dealing with something that's translucent like this, if you already have the richness in your skin to kind of like build up the midtones for this to look really at home on you in terms of saturation, by all means, apply it directly to your skin. But in this case, you can see that these are very translucent on my skin, hello. And so they're going to look a bit like they're floating there. You're gonna see more of my freckles and more of that bronzer through there. And so it's like, if that's gonna happen anyway, let's build a color that's going to look more flattering underneath there than just applying it directly to bronzer, because those two colors are very disparate from one another. So you're gonna want to build in the midtones. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that is why I make these videos that are like reference material, so that you can go back to them at any time. They don't go stale, you know, and see what I'm talking about. Because I really, really, really want to play with that orange today. And so I want to make sure that I give it its best chance. Hold please, I'm going to hunt through my collection and I'm going to give y'all some visual examples of how this is gonna work. Okay, it took some swatching, but we found it. These two don't work. Those are two of the shades from Violette FR in her beautiful, beautiful Bisou blush. I have Inez and Louise, and these are colors that I love, especially Louise, but I needed just a little more peachiness because what I wanna do is have this color actually show up truer on my skin. The way that it mixes is going to actually look like a richer version of what it is on my skin than if it were alone. Do you see that? And I didn't even say what it was. It's Peach from Bosma. I love this formula, and honestly these formulas really agree with one another as well. You can see that this one is more translucent in the pan and this one has a lot more opacity to it, and it's just not even opacity, it's like desaturated, you know what I mean? It's got gray in it, and so they're going to build really nicely, and I think that the formulas are gonna work well together. So I'm gonna use a sponge. We're just gonna see what happens when I use a sponge, because I want it ever so slight, you know? Like, we're not talking about this being the star of the show. We're talking about it just being a little bit better of a color than laying it down right on top of that bronzer. All right, I'm gonna use that same sponge and we're going to go in for the moment of truth here. See how this orange looks on me. I mean, if it is not juicy and delicious, y'all are gonna watch me be so sad. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, ooh, wait. I think we're gonna end up using both because the lavender is more skin native for me. And believe it or not, I think that like they're gonna work really well together because you can see that's not it's not a skin native color for me. It's a lot. And I'm glad that it's a lot because I want to, it's not necessarily about me looking incredible at the end of it. It's also about me showing y'all what it's gonna do. Because if I just demonstrate perfection all the time, not that I could, but like if I did hypothetically, that's not helpful for anybody. I want you to see what a product is gonna do. And the main thing that I was curious about with this product was, is it going to have more presence on the skin than the first time that he tried to translate this formula into blushes? And the answer is a resounding yes. And I like that so much. Even if the color isn't my ideal color, ooh, it looks good now, especially since we're gonna go in with kind of an orange lip. But I do also, like this is so, you can see like native to my, like the purple in my lips, like it really pulls something out there. So I think that I will use just a touch of it and see what happens. You know what I mean? We're gonna find out. Oh, it's giving something very similar to like a Dior blush. And honestly, I just love that everybody is going lilac right now. And for the color theory freaks out there, myself included, this is very much in opposition to this color right here. And so they're going to balance each other out in an alternative way to what I did with the Bosma. The Bosma is going to build the same color and keep this true. It's going to make this show up more true to what's in the pan on my skin than it would have if I applied it alone. This is gonna add opacity in a way that it is counteracting it, because even though both of these actually have some yellow in them, we are talking about this one being a lot more yellow. And so the yellow counterbalancing with the purple, they just work really nicely together, as you can see. It just gives a little bit of depth, which is a little unusual because typically I would say you should use the warmer tone to make the cheeks, look like they're coming towards you and kind of popping. And that's why I also applied the purple kind of back here, but also it's, pretty close to neon, and that is what's lending it its strength, I feel like, in not making my skin look gray. Oh my gosh. I really feel like these are paints. For people who maybe aren't as comfortable with these kinds of shades. Did I make it look difficult? Yeah, because it's like, oh, I have to kind of diagnose the difference between my skin X, Y, and Z. Sure. Well, go watch the video. It's really not that complex of a concept, but at the same time, I could see how you'd be like, why would I buy a blush that needs another blush in order to work on me? I agree with that. But I also like that these are so pure that it is easier to think of them from a color theory standpoint because they behave kind of like paints and they're so predictable in terms of their like pigmentation and their translucence. So I like this a lot better than I like the Milk Makeup blush because the Milk Makeup blush stains and this doesn't. So it's a lot more forgiving because it's more of a gel formula. And yes, I have an axe to grind against that product, and I'm sorry. If you love that product, the Milk Makeup stick, I am a broken record. I know. I edit myself. I hear myself. I know. I see it as like one and the same with TikTok. Like that is the zeitgeist's representation of TikTok to me. Forgive me. Just forgive me for being kind of, a bitter millennial. I'm such a huge fan, Mario. That makes me really happy. Because did we build in the Bosma first? Yes, but I kind of feel like because those colors are so beautifully opposing one another, I could have just layered the two of them and been fine too. I think it would have been okay, but I'm glad we did the richness of it all. Now, we need to open this lip. I am really excited about this because like I do have a lot of them. It just has a very pleasant kind of light smell. I have a lot of these and they're plumping without reddening the lips, which I think is lovely. But again, we're talking about something that is, oh my God, pretty much entirely translucent. God, is that dreamy. It is so glossy. So again, that is, what's the formula called? The Moisture Glow Lip Plumping Serum, Plumping Lip Serum. And I love a plump as long as it doesn't, again, like make my lips look inflamed, so. Oh my God. Oh yeah. So I don't know if y'all have noticed, but orange and lilac are having a moment right now. It's like last summer when I put out my summer broad collection, it was coral and beige. We've moved in more polar directions, and now we're like almost in this like tropical saturation vibe. And so everything is coming out in orange and lilac. And I not only am super here for it because I feel like it's just so happy, but I also love that it is a change and it challenges me, especially in terms of something like a translucent orange, to figure out how to make it work on me because I want to wear it. It's really appetizing, even if it's not necessarily a color that like is super native to my skin tone. Look at how it's very interesting, very interesting. I get so excited about this stuff. I love that it's also plumping. It feels really nice. The orange that is translucent here works against the purple in my lips that is very similar to the purple in that blush. So we end up with the same effect that we got with the orange and the lilac on my cheeks on my lips, just by virtue of the fact that my lips are already this color. Boom, I love color theory. Oh my God. Okay, it is plumping, it's glossy, it's gorgeous. I love this. All the other ones prior to this have a lot of white in them or gray in them or whatever, like they have opacity to them, almost like coverage on the lips, and this doesn't. And I do want to swatch this for y'all against other like orange things in my collection because like I said, when things are having a moment, I tend to kind of get a lot of them. And so I wanna go ahead and compare them because the formulas are different, but also the price points can be really wild. And I don't wanna convince anybody to like overspend on something that's kind of a trend, you know? Alrighty, so here we have the new Makeup by Mario. Again, that's shade was what? Like tangerine something? Tangerine Glow. Then right here is the Hermes that everyone was cursing me in the comments like, what is that? And they're like, it's $75, Khaki. Yes, I know, I have a problem. It doesn't need to be your problem, okay? You don't need to go buy this. This is Rouge Hermes Brilliant Poppy, and it's just so lovely and glittery, and it has a slight fruity smell. It's not plumping. And then here we have the Gisou in, what's it called? Oh, dear Lord in heaven. Mango Passion Punch, and it does smell kind of deliciously of like a fruit punch candy kind of thing. And you can see that it is much oranger. Like it makes this one look a little bit more coral by comparison, which is interesting because this is quite orange. Then down here, I have the In Beauty Project. This is also called Fruit Punch, and it smells like Hawaiian Punch so hard. And there's no plumping, but it does taste sweet. And then this is the Desert Island Beauty Dibs lip gloss in Orange Crush, and it smells like vanilla, doesn't have any plumping to it, and it doesn't have a flavor, and it doesn't bother me, you know, in terms of how it tastes, but it is not the most elegant formula in the world. It's a little thick, it's a little like gritty in terms of the glitter. I would say like it's very pretty, it is, but it's like not, it just doesn't behave like a super elegant lip gloss, but it's really pretty when you get it on. I don't know. All to say, I like all of them. I really do. I don't have a problem with any of those. We can kick any of them out of bed. Like I said, this is going to be a very like face, cheeks, lips heavy kind of makeup look. I do feel like my forehead is a little bit blushy, you know? Like I feel like we might have even gone too far. So I'm not going to like go in hard on my eyes. In fact, this is really dumb because it's not at Sephora, but I just want to use this because I haven't gotten to use it yet. This is Solar Flare from Byredo, and it's just a really great, super chill beige glitter, and I just want to put it all over my eyes. And then I'm going to do eyeliner, brows, mascara, and then we'll come back and talk about my final thoughts here. So I will commence with that now. Well, that was easy. That was VB on my brows, and again, the Byredo on my eyelids. I do think I got it a little too close to my eyeball. Like, be careful, because the glitter particles are pretty aggressive. I don't really want it directly in my eye, but that was how it turned out. And then, I can't help myself, y'all. None of this is at Sephora. None of the stuff on my eyes is at Sephora. I just gave myself a pass, but the Hermes highlighter, I put a little bit on my inner corner and up there, and like, could I go crazy? Yes, but I'm not going to. Thrive mascara, but I'm very careful, especially on a makeup look like this, to exercise restraint and just put it at the roots, because the Thrive can really build fast. That's what I love about it, is because it has that flexibility, and it's for impatient people. But sometimes it can run away from you. and I don't want my eyelashes to be the star of the show. I really just wanted to have almost like a, I don't know, like a tight line effect a little bit. And so that was why I concentrated on, you know, just putting it at the roots. So I'm personally pretty obsessed with how this looks. Like, I just am loving summery skin right now, and that's just what this is. I feel like it's just one capsule, you know, there are several, but it's like a pretty good capsule of like achieving really beautiful, hydrated looking summer skin. So let's go start to finish here, and I will give you all my thoughts. So, I mean, obviously this combo right here is something that, you know, I've been using every single day. It's not necessarily like a reason to deviate from your SPF routine, but it has proven to be really beautiful and really great for sensitive skin, which is really interesting. Like, I wouldn't have anticipated that, especially from one of these kind of like mattifying gel chemical sunscreens, but the Allies of Skin one is really nice. Like, it doesn't bother my skin. The Supergoop one really, really does. And I found that these are also, obviously, like, the combination is very effective. Y'all saw in depth. I mean, you know, the combo here works great. If you have not invested in bronzing drops, and that's something that you have been, you know, like scouring, slowly absorbing, osmosing the information that's coming in, you know, across the makeup space, because every brand is putting one out, and you haven't made a decision yet, I will say, like, this is my favorite one that I've tried from start to finish. I think that the fact that it is so concentrated makes it very cost effective, but not impossible to use. You just kind of have to get used to it. The packaging is gorgeous. This is glass. It's so pretty. I feel like the undertones of the two shades are really lovely. Like I said, I would love for the folks who have really deep skin tones to sound off, like, do you even want bronzing drops? Is that something that is for you, kind of thing? And like, is there a brand that you like for that? I would love to know. Or do you use something like this for a different purpose if it's lighter than your skin tone? These are the things that I am so grateful to have a community to draw upon for these kinds of things. And yes, I do read the comments. All that to say, beautiful formula, mixes really beautifully with obviously their skin tint, and I love that it adds extra SPF. These, you know, I still like them. I will say that for all of the work that is involved, not a ton of work, but like, I will say that there is a little bit more attention that has to go into the application of the Sculpt and Protect sticks from Ciele, but it translates to them being really long wearing, I think, because of like the waxiness. So there is a give and a take, and I think that they are worth it if one of the colors is good for you. Makeup by Mario. I hope that I gave a really good representation of how these behave, because I don't really want to give an up or down on these, other than to say that the main question I was trying to answer today was, are these going to be pigmented enough to have impact in a more satisfying way, in a more like reason to be there blush kind of way than the last time that he released colors, like, you know, other than bronzers in this formula? And the answer is yes. But you saw, they're translucent. They layer on each other really beautifully, and they layer on top of other things really beautifully. And obviously, if you have a rich enough skin tone that you're building in the mid-tones here, like you have enough warmth or you have enough coolness or just literally richness to your skin, this is not going to be super high contrast and look like it's sort of hovering on your skin, then go nuts, you know? But if you're like me and you're really pale, you might want to consider layering this on top of something or combining them. And if that's something that is too fussy for you, then that's also news you can use. I am not telling you to buy this. I'm just saying, like, I'm excited about them because I'm excited to have these kinds of pure colors to work with. I find them, like I said, really appetizing. They truly just look like gummy candy that I want to eat. And so of course I like naturally want to wear that as makeup. And this is, again, like a color story that's really trending right now because it gives you that kind of like bright, tropical, happy looking complexion. And I think that that's what we all need right now, is just some like bright, carefree happiness. And if that comes in the form of shades of makeup, I'm here for it. And they do have that gorgeous gel finish on them the same way that the original Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer does. And that's the reason that I cared. You know, that's why I wanted to buy these to see, is because I love the effect of that formula so much. I love this really beautiful kind of like hydrated finish that it gives the skin that I don't have to work very hard for. And so I wanted it in other steps in my routine. And this does accomplish that. They are, however, very translucent. I just want you to bear that in mind, and hopefully the visual really helps. Same goes for the lip. It is I would say a minty plump. It doesn't taste minty, but it is that kind of like cool tingle, not a hot tingle, which is my preference. I always prefer a minty tingle than a spicy tingle. And I think that these are incredible because the other ones, like I said, had a lot less saturation to them. It had white or gray or black added to them in order to give them more coverage on the lips, more presence, more opacity. And this has no opacity to it. It's just this pure coating of a translucent color of gloss. So it's very similar to like a Tower 28 gloss or like a Glossier gloss or something like that, but just in this, I think, really fantastic formula. And I mean, what's more fun than this like bright orange package? I also love that when a brand has the funding to do so, when they put the color on the outside of the packaging, and like, what's more fun than that? You know, it's like this orange tube and it's so satisfying. I don't feel like it sets your expectations too high. It's really lovely and it's super easy to wear. Like, I'm just very happy with like how subtle it is for something that is so vivid. I'm really happy with them. I'm excited about them. And finally, I don't know why I saved this for the end for some reason, the Yummy Skin Lift and Flex Concealer from Danessa Myricks. And I will let y'all know how it wears. Like, I'll probably pop something in right here. The wear test concluded with kind of mixed results because of the Makeup by Mario being so gel balmy. So I didn't powder underneath my eyes, and I don't think it really would have made any difference anyway because the gel of the Makeup by Mario broke it up a little bit, but I still feel like it held its own. That is something that would have happened to any concealer. I will say the lighting is a little bit more flattering than real life, and it is a little bit more matte than I would prefer. It is not like hitting top 3 status for me. If you know about my, top 3 concealers that kind of stay the same more or less, it isn't beating those out. But if you have a want and a need for something that has this appearance that you might have oilier skin, I feel like it's just for combo to oily skin more so than mine. Those are my thoughts for now, y'all. I hope that this was fun. I really enjoyed it. I still want to keep my feet in beauty reviews. I am getting these curriculum videos out because there's a lot of demand for them, and I feel like we finally found our groove in terms of folks knowing where to find the information that they're looking for, and me figuring out how to package it in a way that is like the right amount of information per video. And it took a while to sort of synchronize on those things, but I'm so excited that people are excited about color theory. Like, that makes me just, beam with joy. Those videos are not going anywhere. Continue asking questions. I'm gonna do one on color corrector. I'm gonna do one, like I said, on, contour versus bronzer, and anything else that y'all wanna know. Ask away. I will do any video like that for you, but I am still Khaki reviews beauty. I'm still gonna be out here reviewing beauty because this stuff excites me, and I hope that it still excites you. Let me know down below. I don't want to abandon my original viewership who loves the long form chaotic videos. So I hope this was fun. If you like to give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe, and I love y'all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.